Hey folks, welcome to this video where we'll be showcasing our Sparrow's boot strategy. Now, before we go too far, I'm sure most of you will be familiar with aspects of this strategy because it's fairly common in the world of notes. And this is great for those of you who want to be in the most secured position of a note. So just keep that in mind as we spend some time covering the philosophical elements of this. This is a strategy that incorporates elements of bond laddering, which is why it's similar to our Abbe's attic method. But the differences between the two here is clear once we'll dive into it because they serve two distinct purposes. For those of you who are not familiar with notes, be sure to check out the Intro to Notes video in the Note versus Series section of this channel. It's a great introduction into what a note is and why we're so note-centric and believe it to be the best investment vehicle for investors who want true passive income and maximize their retirement portfolios and arrive at retirement sooner. That said, we're going to be progressing with the knowledge that you've at least watched that video and are familiar with notes. The Sparrow's boot technique works best for two types of investors. The first are those who want to have a clearly defined set of parameters to operate within, meaning the term or length of time to be involved within the deal, because it can be definitively measured. The second group of investors are those of you who want to be in the most secured position possible in a note by acquiring what's called the front end, which essentially is the front part of a note and has the most money in the deal. In a more layman vernacular, the front half is worth more because it's where the interest is most heavy. What you're going to do essentially is purchase a set amount of monthly payments at a fixed yield that will give what the industry calls an entitlement stream, meaning you're basically going to be entitled to a set amount of payments from the front end, of course, for a set amount of time. Now, there's two aspects of this type of investment depending on which side of the deal you're on. One of the most distinguishing aspects of this strategy is the fact that the investor who purchases the front end isn't alone in the deal per se, because the back end or the remaining payments belong to the investor who sold the front end stream of payments. The reason why this is a good thing is because if something goes wrong, like in the event of a default or a catastrophic event, the original investor can intervene and help solve the issue because they still have an equitable interest in the deal. So there's a bit of protection built into the investor who purchases the entitlement stream or the front few payments. Let's drive this home and give an example that's fairly common. And we're going to show you on a financial calculator how this works, since statistically there are more of you out there who are visual. So we're just going to pick some numbers from the air to give you the strategy behind this. Now, please understand that the math will always change because every deal is different and the numbers will almost always be different. But let's presuppose that you had $25,000 you wanted to deploy. So we would put that $25,000 into the calculator. Now say you wanted to be in this particular deal for 60 months. So we input 60 months into the calculator. Now, let's say that the property was on a middle-class asset in the Midwest where a normal monthly payment would be about $500 a month. So we put $500 a month into the numbers, and that would give you a yield of 7.42%, which is about industry average on this particular type of asset. So in closing, at the end of the day, you get true passive income with just the payment stream that you're collecting for the agreed upon term. And this is a great way to deploy capital that may be sitting in an IRA, which is why very sophisticated investors are flocking to implement this strategy. Again, the Sparrow's boot strategy works best for two types of investors. Those of you who want a clearly defined set of parameters and those of you who want to be in the most secured position possible without the traditional real estate headaches. So feel free to contact our offices for more information on this particular strategy. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.